Good afternoon to everyone joining us live on Facebook. We are here inside of our aviary with the two East African crowned cranes. The male is the one straight ahead right there with all of the crown. His name is Seymour. And then we have little Stella right here, who is the girl. So Stella and Seymour. So we'll get started in just a minute. Let a few more people join us this morning for our educational Facebook Live with the East African crowned cranes. And I'll get as close as I can today without kind of spooking them. They're very curious animals. Hi everyone, good afternoon. Hi Sydney, thanks for joining us again. Today we're going to be talking about Stella and Seymour. Stella is the girl and Seymour is on the right with that head, the little crown on the head. And he is the boy. We'll be talking about them in just a minute. And then if you've been following Hunt Club for the past couple of months or years, you do know that we did have 3 babies last October that were shipped down to Florida to be educational birds. So I'll be able to show you the 3 babies too. Hi Jody, thanks for joining. All right, so right here on the right we have Seymour, who is the male, and then we also do have Stella. You can notice the male has that big crown on his head, and that primarily determines the male and then the female. And you can kind of tell if they're together. The female is smaller than the males. Hey Donna, hope you're having a great afternoon on this beautiful Monday. So Stella and Seymour came to our farm about 10 years ago. East African crowned cranes, they can stand anywhere from 3 feet tall to 4 to 5. And the cool thing about them though is when they spread those wings, those can get up to 6 to 6.5 feet for their wingspan. So imagine taking your mom or your dad and laying them sideways. That is how long their wingspan is. So when they flap those wings, it is very long. And cranes will start laying eggs when they are about 5 years old. So we have had about 3 good, successful times that they have laid their eggs. And cranes will imprint on one another, meaning once they found a mate, they're gonna stick with them forever. So once Seymour found Stella, they have been together ever since, and they will be together now for the rest of their life. That is the East African crowned crane. And then we've been incredibly lucky to also be able to watch the process here at the farm of Stella and Seymour and also having their babies. Even though Stella and Seymour have successfully imprinted on each other, they have a hard time for caring for their babies. So that's where our animal caretakers, such as Amber, who is the petting farm manager, that's when she steps in as soon as they're born and then starts to hand feed them. So the first year that Amber had to take those eggs, because Stella and Seymour, although they love each other to death, sometimes they can just not take care of their babies, unfortunately, properly. So the first year that we had the clutch, we were still learning how to take care of the birds. So that's when Amber reached out to trainers and caretakers for birds in Australia. So they were able to give her the proper care, what to do when you take the birds home, when to feed them. And then our most recent clutch from last year, like I did say, I'll go ahead and show the photo. Right here is our recent clutch. So the 3 birds, beautiful birds, they went to Florida to be educational birds and to teach others about this specific breed, their habitat, and feeding information. So it was really awesome to see these birds be shipped down to Florida right after the hurricane, I believe September, October of last year. And we've received photos and updates from them, and it's amazing to see their journey in a different part of North America. So if you're just joining, we do have Seymour on the right, that is the male, and on the left, we do have Stella. So next time you come to the farm, let's see if you guys can tell the difference between Stella and Seymour. Thank you guys for joining. If you're just tuning in, we are inside of our aviary with the East African crowned cranes. Hey Shelby, if you had them for 10 years, what are their lifespans? So the lifespans of an East African crowned crane just depends whether they're living in the wild or here inside of the captivity and enclosures. Anywhere from about 20 to 40 years is what the experts like to say. Of course, it does range depending on where they live, but about 20 to 40 years. So the cranes, they can stand as tall as 44 to 48 inches. So anywhere between 3 to 5 feet tall. And of course the males are significantly bigger. Hey Destiny, you can head inside the office if you need to. The cranes, they can weigh anywhere between 6 to 8 pounds, so very light. They're very curious animals, but very smart. They have a wingspan of 6.5 feet, and they have the slate gray feathers on their body. So like I was saying, once Stella and Seymour were paired, they began building that large nest. And right here, actually, where Stella is standing in this corner, this is where they like to build that huge circle nest. So that's when we know not to come in here, because we know that they are mating and they become very aggressive and are not that nice when we do come in, because once those eggs have been laid, Mom and Dad take 24/7 security over them. So the female, so Stella can actually lay anywhere between 2 to 4 of the bluish and white eggs. So those are the East African crowned crane eggs. And both parents actually incubate the eggs. So there's Stella. So Stella incubates at night. She'll take those night shifts. And then right here we have Seymour. And Seymour takes the day shifts. So Mom and Dad both sit on the eggs 24/7. And there's that 6.5 feet wingspan you can see with Seymour. So their eggs, so the incubation period, the eggs hatch after anywhere between 28 and 31 days. As you can see, they are doing those dances. So we did have a question about the babies. How old will the babies be until you can tell if they are male or female? I'm not sure. I believe it is just a couple of months. We'll have to comment to that. We'll have to respond to that comment a little later so I can get the correct information from Amber for you. So the crown chicks, once they're developed and once they hatch, within a few hours they can actually follow mom and dad. So once those babies do hatch, if we do need to take them, Amber does, as soon as they hatch, grab them so that she can start doing the proper care for them. So if you're just joining us, we have been talking about Seymour, who is right here, and then Stella, our East African crowned cranes, which is an endangered species. And we do have two beautiful ones that have been able to produce 3 times here on the farm. Hopefully we'll have another beautiful batch this year too. Three of our chicks did go to Sanford, Florida to be educational birds. So the 3 beautiful babies from last September, October were able to take a flight down there. And then I also wanted to show you guys a photo of one of the babies with our cat May here on the farm. So as you can see, our cat is friendly with any of the animals. And then that's Amber, of course, taking great care of the crowned crane. Thank you so much for joining us for our educational Facebook Live today with the East African crowned cranes. Just a few social distancing and self-quarantining guidelines that I did want to reiterate for everyone. Make sure you wash your hands and make sure you do wash your hands often. Also avoid close contact with anyone. Try to stay within 6 feet of the person next to you. Also cover your mouth and nose with a face cover when around others if you can, or do the own DIY at home. Remember to cover the coughs and sneezes and clean and disinfect and just wash those hands to be safe. We will be having a live stream later today, and then of course bedtime stories with Conrad at 8 p.m. So tune into that, and we'll see you a little later this week at 11 a.m. We will be doing more educational Facebook Lives and also some cool farm experiments that you can do at home along with us. So they do begin a little, so the last one was a little around fall, Kim, and it was right here. So they did start hatching around September, around the end of summer, middle of summer, maybe July or August is when I believe I started noticing those eggs. Thank you, Sydney. I hope everyone has a great day. If you haven't already signed up for our discount club, we will be sending an email again about a huge season pass discount that we are running. Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11.